Hello?
Hey yo!
Hi! Where the fuck are we? I can't see anything. Um,
Ah,
oh, it's on the screen.
yeah.
Um, Hello. Welcome to Creature House Podcast. This is week 2. I'm your host, Andrew, your local, uh, quarter zip wearer, I guess.
And am I squid or am I kid? My name is Alex, coming at you live. Welcome back to this
Whee!
week's episode of
Welcome
Creature
back.
Hours Podcast.
We're gonna be doing something kind of special today. Not really special, but I gotta move my feet off the screen. You guys don't get to see that for free. Um,
Yeah, we know Driffin's in the chat.
yeah, Driffin, I'm looking at you. But we're doing something kind of special today because I feel like with a bunch of new people that we've met over the past couple of weeks, the past couple of months actually, it might be a good time to just sit down and talk about the road trip we had over the summer.
Yeah, no, what a wild week and a half that was.
Well, from the Corn Palace to the presidential heads to fucking hiking on a trail that went up for fucking ever. It was a really wild time, and I really enjoyed every
I
moment.
like the idea that was the hike that you considered going up forever.
Yeah, cause I'm fucking awful at physical activity, dog. No, but it was super fun. Um, I do wish we spent more time at Ram Big Ram, whatever the fuck that was.
Where the hike was.
Where the what? No, where the lake was, where we had our own villa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wish we stayed there a bit more, but overall, pretty fun trip. Getting to see Seattle for the first time was kind of wild. Going to Alex's place, looking over the beach. What a good place to stay.
Also, before we get into it, I don't know if you guys have noticed too, on our Twitter, we now have we have an art hashtag. Cause last week, we got fan art, which fucking amazing, right? And so now we're like, we should probably be a little bit more official about all this. And so, on our Twitter, it's like linked in our bio, which is like so the hashtag Creechart Hours.
Creature and ours.
Fan art hashtag until we can find a better one. But that's what it'll be for the time being.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Follow us
sir.
on Twitter.
Follow
to
us
get,
on
like,
Twitter.
random updates and just trash content in general.
Yeah, Twitter, good place to get updates because as you noticed today isn't your normal regularly stream time. Cause what'd you do yesterday, Alex?
I drove up to Chicago last night and I attended a concert. Ooh, wait, actually, perfect timing. Holy shit. So, I'm actually wearing my t-shirt right now. Me, friend Connor went to the Miyavi concert. I was hosting the Cobra Lounge, and so I was not in town last night. Got back kind of late. So, I mean, we could have streamed. It would have just been at like 2 in the morning. But we're coming at you on Thursday because we have very little to no standards.
Yeah, no standards so far. Also, Thursdays also our normally scheduled D&D time, but we couldn't do that this week. But that gives us time to do the podcast, so we're here. Yeah. Feel like, yeah. Today, fucking, God, my shin fucking hurts. Oh my God. Took a really big fall when climbing, and now my shin does not stop aching. So, guess we're both hurt, huh?
We are both very hurt.
Yeah.
But I think that's the best time to get just like right into it.
Yeah.
So man, it was only like a week and a half for like you guys, right? So for a little bit of context, we had planned this trip a couple months in advance, right? Where like a group of the guys were gonna fly into Seattle, right? We were gonna spend Seattle over 4th of July, and then knowing that I needed a car over senior year, as well as my little sister needing her car to start her freshman year, we were just gonna road trip those back to the Midwest.
And I think it's funny too, because the way it started was Alex out of nowhere just went, man, it'd be really funny if all of you came over for the 4th of July. And we went, honestly, we could.
We could, and then I made like this random offhanded comment to my mother, and she was like, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And fucking like, when Alex was like, yeah, y'all can come over for the 4th of July, I think the amount of yeses you got right away were from Alex, from Connor, I think, and surprisingly both of the DeVezas. And I was like, I gotta go now. And then Trevor went, and I was like, I'm having a fun time.
Yeah. And it ended up working out too, because like in a totally like different scenario after that, or like in the middle of that, Connor ended up coming with me and my family to Costa Rica.
Yeah.
Which, like, so the timeline of this was like in July, so it was like the 17th or the 18th of June that Connor flew in to Seattle. We were hanging out for a day. I went to go show him around the city. Connor, out there now, is a honorary Seattle local, if you didn't know. Really knows his way around the city. And then the morning after, we fly out to Costa Rica. We're there for like a week and a half, waking up to like the sound of like legitimate monkeys. And then like there's like us like calling back to it. And we fly back in the night of the 30th, the 31st.
30th.
Yes.
Yes.
The night of the 30th at like 8 p.m. And then like at 9 a.m. we go to pick up you guys.
Woo! God, that flight was so awful. Because it was like, because it was me, Nick, me and Nugs and Brian were like, hey, our flight is at like 6, at like 8 in the morning. We have to be at the airport by 6. Why don't we just stay up? Because we're going to sleep on the flight, right? Wrong. Did not sleep at all on the flight. But it was to the point, because the people that were at the airport with us, it was me, I drove Brian and Nugs to the airport, and then Alex met us there later, and Alex got first class tickets, because it was like, yeah, the tickets there were like $120. This was a couple months in advance, and then Alex was like, yeah, I could shell out some money for first class tickets, so he got fucking first class tickets, and he met us at the airport. They drank airport wine, which I was like, I really want to do, but I'm underage, so I can't. And then we went on the flight. The flight was weird because in the middle of the flight, it got really turbulent out of nowhere. So if I wanted to sleep, I couldn't. And then we landed. When we got there, the weather was super nice because it wasn't hot. And I was like, good weather for once.
Like, we really lucked out with that. Because
Yeah.
the weekend before, Seattle had a record-breaking heat wave, which I think there's like 3 times in like the history of Seattle that it's gone like above 100 degrees.
Must be nice. Must be nice.
Or like some like statistic like that where it was funny because like we both had just missed it. So Connor and I were on our way back from Costa Rica, which also had beautiful weather. It was like really comfortable. And then like you guys had just flown in, and so it went from like being like 90 plus degrees like for the weekend back down to like mid 60s, low 70s with like partly cloudy.
That's so nice.
I remember that morning too because Connor and I also didn't sleep all that much because we were still like a bit jet lagged. And so that morning, I believe we went out and I was longboarding and he was on one of like the little rental electric scooters, and we went out to the beach and we got to see the sunrise just because our bodies had woken us up like at 4:30.
Fair. Yeah. And then we got there. Alex picked all of us up in the truck. We drove, picked up some gear for everybody to sleep in.
The gear, and then we got tacos.
We got taco. Oh my god, that taco truck was so good. The burrito was fire. Never had a burrito that loaded in my entire life. It's crazy, and it also wasn't expensive at all.
Nope.
It was like, for a burrito like this size, probably like $7. It's crazy.
And I think there's a picture of it somewhere, but like I remember you guys getting to my house and just like absolutely cashing out, knocking out on the couch. It was like really funny because like came back and everybody was like, we were like talking about like like road trip plans and just
Yeah.
On screen. Yeah, it's just you and Nugs just like
Cashing
knocked out. Dog May there, just like was like, yes, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, and then it was crazy because we were talking about like where we were stopping on the road trip and all that stuff, and then I was trying to ask questions, and then I just felt my body going like this, and I was like, I'm gonna close my eyes, and knocked, and then in the middle of like when I woke up and I looked at everybody else, and everybody else was knocked too. Like Brian, when we got that little like that what is it called, a cot or whatever,
Yeah,
the camping cot, he was like, let me test this out real quick. He laid on it and knocked the fuck out. It was so funny.
He in quote was like, I'm gonna test this out, see how comfy this is, but then proceeds to take everything out of like his like pockets, take off all of his rings, put it into his hat, and then we just see this man just like schlump for like 2 hours.
Yeah. And then when we all woke up, we were like, our first day here, and we decided to just go to sleep. What do we do now? And then I forget, what did we do after just waking up?
I believe we had dinner.
We had like pho bowls, right?
I think that was I think that was the night that we also went into the city.
Mm.
We went to Chinatown.
Yeah.
And I showed you guys around like the various spots. So like became Oasis Boys.
We became Oasis Boys. I wish I had merch, bro. That merch looks so cool.
So there is this bubble tea shop that is in the heart of Chinatown in Seattle called Oasis, which their biggest thing is that they're open until like 1 or 2 in the morning every single day, and so from like 10 a.m. through 2 a.m. they're just a fully functioning, like really modern boba shop that is really good.
It's so good. Like there, it was like it was open really late, and at the same time they had like, you could make your bubble tea afloat. Like you could get like a scoop of ice cream in there, and I was like, I have to try that at least once. And then they also had like these really good popcorn chicken buckets that I was like, okay. So I think one night I went and got it, and it's crazy. If like if we had one of those here, I'd be out of money very, very quickly. Like, we'd have another alternative to bocce's, and I'd be so grateful to have anything other than bocce's past midnight. Oh my god.
But yeah, we did that as well as the Korean corn dogs.
Yeah, the Korean corn dogs were good. We didn't do that till, like, maybe, like, our third or fourth day, but going around Chinatown was pretty cool. Or, it's not really Chinatown as you call it, right?
We call it our international district,
Yeah.
which just because like every other block is like differently cultured,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like all kind of melded together, which is like a nice thing in comparison to like Chicago's Chinatown,
Yeah.
which is like mostly just like that one strip,
Yeah.
whereas like this one you can like actually like walk around and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. Like going off of that, we ended up getting the Seattle City Pass,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so like what that was is like it was like an all-inclusive package of like different Seattle attractions that you can go to. So it include like the Space Needle, the Chihuly Glass Museum, our Museum of
Pop culture. I think we also got to go to the aquarium.
The aquarium.
I'm thinking about what else we did. Fuck.
We had the option of going on like this like little Argosy cruise, but we didn't have time for that.
No. I think we only used 4
Yeah.
out of our 5 scans, which it's all right. But I think the cool thing throughout that yeah, that was our picture up on the Space Needle. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But I think one of the highlights of the trip was just seeing like the roles that everybody plays while on a trip.
We gotta go to the zoo too.
Yeah, the zoo. Yeah, we went to the Seattle Zoo. Oh my god. But like it's really cool just going to place and see what role everybody takes when they're on a trip. Like you have the dad person, which I feel like was either you and Brian, like making sure everybody was okay, and then you have the people that just like wandered off.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, just the different archetypes of people like going to places. I think Seattle, really cool. Favorite place was definitely Pike. Pike was so cool.
Pike Place Market. I mean, it's like the Seattle classic, you know?
Yeah.
It's like what we're known for. But I think first we ended up going to the zoo.
Yeah.
Right?
Did we go to the zoo first? I think we went to the aquarium first. Either the aquarium or the zoo. I don't remember.
It was like an animal zoo.
Yes. Yeah. It was. I don't remember much. Bro, my memory is so bad. At the Seattle... Yeah, we did go to the zoo. The zoo was cool. Definitely better than the Peoria Zoo for sure. But you know everybody had to go straight for the monkeys. Oh my... Like, it was like... We were reading all of the signs, and I think one of the signs like, this monkey has a 60-foot vertical. And it was like... We were like 60-foot vertical, and then like Brian and I kept making side hand jokes like, this monkey should be in the NBA, bro. And it's like he has the grip with the thumbs, like, and his hand was really big. It's like, hey Mikey, those hands, how well do you think he could grip a basketball? And we were like, bro, we could take all of the monkeys from the zoo and make our own NBA team. It was crazy, like, bro, 60-foot verticals. Like big heads and just like really agile.
Was it actually like they can jump from ground? There's no way.
No, I don't know. They said like they could jump super high, and then we saw a monkey go from ground level to like way up here in like one jump. I don't know if it's 60 feet. Maybe it is a 60 feet like horizontal jump, but like even that's wild.
60, that's 6 stories.
Yeah, that's wild. I don't know. Maybe it was like 30 feet. 30 feet's more fathomable.
Because
but like
tall. The building that we're in currently, it's 4 stories high.
Yeah, I could see a monkey doing that. Bro, if
In
if
one
a, if
go.
a if a monkey can't do it, I could do it for sure.
Please write me in your will.
I'll write you in my will. You can get the Theragun.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, those like we saw the monkeys. We saw a camel.
I took a picture on a hippo.
Yeah, I took a picture on a hippo. Took a bunch of pictures, and then we stopped. We kept throwing like acorns on the ground at each other, like pine cones and stuff.
Well, it was because Connor had this like obsession, but trying to make it into the garbage can.
Yeah, there was like a bench.
I don't think that he made it.
No, he didn't.
Oh yeah, there's me
there's the
on
hippo.
The hippo there.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of disgusting looking back at all these pictures because my hair is an actual rat's nest. It looks so bad. Well, I mean, it worked really well when I was in Costa Rica. You know, I had that like Islanders vibe, and then came back to the city, started going at places, and now looking back, I'm like, why did I not cut it sooner?
Yeah.
And now we're clean, refreshed.
Yeah, I think I had cut it like 2 weeks before, and it gave it time to grow, and I was like, should have cut it like right before the trip, but I digress. It's whatever. But the zoo was really funny. There was one thing. Oh, paying for parking at the zoo. What did Alex say? If you could pay for parking,
Would
if
you pay for?
would you?
No.
Yeah, if you would pay, if you can pay for parking, you would pay for sex, and I'm like,
No. It was. Would you pay for sex? No. Then
why'd you pay for parking? Oh my, cause it was like parking was like $5, and in retrospect, that's not that much, but like I don't like parking for the zoo when the zoo was already like a $20 pass. I'm like, bro, just let me go to the zoo. I just want to go.
We had the city pass.
We did have the city
so
pass.
It didn't matter too much.
We still had to pay for parking though.
And you guys had parked like 2 blocks away.
No, we didn't. We parked like right there.
I remember you had to walk. Like I was like, my car. We were right in front of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
We like passed by you guys as we were driving.
Yeah. Well, we parked in the parking lot a good bits away. Yeah, you're right. But I don't know. We went to the zoo. That was pretty okay. And then we went. Where did we get the Oh, I really want to talk about the pop culture museum, because the pop culture museum was definitely a highlight of the trip. So when you enter the pop culture museum, one of the main attractions, like right through the gate, is this big ender dragon that's on the ceiling. And we took note of this pretty quickly. It was like we walked up, we looked at the ceiling, we were like, oh, this is pretty sick. There's an ender dragon on the ceiling. And as we're waiting in line to get entry into the pop culture museum, this is like 5 minutes later, Mikey goes, hey guys, look, there's an ender dragon on the ceiling. And this prompted a series of jokes later on where it's like, we'll say something and then Mikey will acknowledge it like 5 minutes later, and it's like, bro, we said that already. And then the quote, I think we turned this into a quote later, but it's like, Mikey is the Helen Keller of our generation. And I was like, bro, that's kind of whack, but it's kind of true. It was like Mikey has selective hearing sometimes. It was weird, but
all of his senses are running at like I want to say like 40 hertz.
40 hertz.
Or like the refresh rate is not great.
Yeah, it refreshes like maybe 40 times
a day.
40 times a day, and I'm like, understandable, I guess. But yeah, going to that pop culture museum was cool. We got a whole like video game section. I wanted to go like at that point. I wanted Adrian to come just as a game design major, seeing how these games work. And then there was like this really cool like rock and roll exhibit, being able to just. And I wish the fucking the instrument thing was
Yeah.
open, but it was closed due to COVID. But that pop culture museum was cool. I wanted to get merch, seeing everybody there, but also I was sick for a good bit of that trip too, which was unfortunate. Um, did get like heat stroke within like on the second day, and I was like, "Fuck, dude." Didn't drink water, didn't do anything.
Well, and I think the biggest thing for you guys too was I don't think you were ready for how like elevated and hilly
Yeah.
the um like just like the West Coast is in general.
Yeah.
Compared to over here.
Mhm. Because it was one of those things where, like, let's take the day we went to Pike Place for example, bro. We walked straight up a hill to get to, uh, RBG, or
Rachel's ginger beer.
yeah, RGB, the Razor RGB, yeah, Rachel's Ginger Beer, and then we stopped there, and then we kept going uphill to get to Pike Place, which was like a whole bunch of stairs going up. I was not ready for that. That also prompted, can I get an elevation check? Which, to anyone that doesn't know, is our inside joke where we were like, Alex Zuniga, not this Alex, but other Alex, it goes, when we were driving up a hill, he goes, "Man, this elevation's making me horny." And that prompted us to think, does the elevation have something to do with how hard our dicks get? And so we kept making this inside joke where it's like, "Hey, can we get an elevation check?" And I checked my watch, which does do like elevation and stuff, and we were like, elevation 5,000 feet. We're about 50%. And then every time we'd like go up 1,000 feet or down 1,000 feet, we go, it my horniness level has drastically changed, and it was weird. That inside joke just kept going, and I think sometimes it still goes now.
The incredible thing that I cannot believe happened was at the time, Connor was in the middle of watching through Queen's Gambit.
Yeah.
Right? And he was on an episode, we were like getting ready to like turn in for the night. And he's like, he just grabs my arm and is like, "There's no fucking way you'll believe this." There's a scene in Queen's Gambit where they're talking about like one of like the main characters and whatnot, and she is like, "Yeah, she ain't acting right. I think the altitude is getting to her head, making her a little frisky." And we're like, did she just ask for an elevation check and relate it to horniness? I could not believe my ears.
Bro, when you told us that story in the morning, I was like, huh, life does imitate art. Or art does, yeah. And I was like, bro, there's no shot. No shot. But I think Seattle was good. But the road trip going from Seattle all the way to Chicago was definitely, I feel, I wouldn't say it was better, but it was like a really good change of pace from the city.
It was definitely really interesting. But before we move on to that, I was kind of wondering, so like from like it's been a while since I had to do like the tourist perspective, right?
Yeah.
So like how was all of that? You know, like experiencing it for the first time. I know you used to live on the West Coast.
Yeah, a little
but,
bit.
like, a while ago.
Yeah, a
so
long time ago.
How was that like being back?
It was weird. Definitely weird. I definitely like. It wasn't. That's not something I remember. West Coast isn't something that I'm necessarily familiar with. But being like, I would say California is a lot different from Seattle.
Yes.
In a way where it's like I didn't really live on the coast, as you did. But I don't know. From a tourist perspective, Seattle was very, very cool.
Yeah.
Bro, the amount of fascination I had with that Space Needle, just like being up, I was like, okay, Big needle.
Anybody can at me in chat. I don't care. Space Needle, so much better than the Bean. No doubt about it.
Oh, okay. No, the bean is a bean. You can't bash the bean like that. I think
Is
the
there a
bean is.
restaurant inside the Bean? Is there a bar inside the Bean that revolves?
I'm just saying the
I'm-
bean. Can you see your can you see yourself in the Space Needle? I don't think so. Can you walk under the Space Needle?
Yeah, you can actually.
I don't think so.
There's no
The
gift-
bean is so much more interesting.
There's a gift shop underneath the Space Needle.
Nah, I think the bean is a lot more interesting. Mainly the fact that it's just a bean in the middle of everything going on.
You've just described why it's not interesting.
It is interesting. I'm saying the bean is pretty cool. No, I agree with you. The fucking Space Needle is a lot more interesting than whatever the fucking bean is. And it's not. Apparently, it's not even supposed to be the bean. It's
the
Cloud Gate.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, bro. Like, don't be so pretentious about your art. Because he hates it when people call it the bean. And I'm like, fuck it, bro. It's a bean. It's literally a bean. I could put a can of beans right there and it'd be the same thing. Basically the same thing. But no, the Space Needle was pretty cool. Definitely wish we had more time in Seattle because I feel like the glimpse we got of Seattle wasn't the entirety of it.
Well, what I took you guys around ended up being like a lot of the big touristy destinations.
Yeah.
So, like going through the International District, the classic Pike Place Market, which like that's just it's like fun. Going to like the Capitol Hill area, doing a little bit of shopping there. Taking you to my favorite burger joint, Dick's Burgers. Dick's Burgers is like a lot of people in Seattle would come. It's like if In-N-Out and Sonic's merged concepts. So it's like it's a burger joint that you drive up to, you park, and then there's a window that you walk up to.
Yeah.
You order your food.
It's like the concept of like if anyone's ever been to Andy's Custard, where that's like a whole window where you just walk up, you order. There's no like place to sit inside, where you just walk up to the window, you order, and you get your shit. But also, isn't it open until like?
It's like open until 2, so the classic midnight run is driving to Oasis, grabbing your bubble tea, and then driving to Dick's and Capitol Hill, grabbing a burger, and then making your way home.
I would kill for like a burger place like that here. Bro, those burgers were, for their price, so good.
So it's like yeah, it's cheap. They're great. So they make it they only make the burger one way. So you get that, and it's like super quick. Like you get it within like a minute or 2.
Yeah.
You get a shake with that, and then it's like just grab and go.
Yeah.
Open until 2 in the morning.
Yeah, it's open so late, and having that available, like, can I just like move Bocce somewhere else and just put a Dick's there? Like I would enjoy that so much, but having people work there would be a different story. Cause like Dick's, I found this really interesting. Pays their workers really well.
No, so that's like a thing that a lot of miscellaneous Seattle businesses have started to do, where they'll be like, yeah, we appreciate tip, but we're not going to rely on the average consumer to tip our customer or to tip our workers.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do instead is just pay our workers more.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's kind of nice. So it's like Dick's their like starting wage is like $18.50.
Yeah, and that's crazy. Like, especially because it's like no one would expect a company to pay, especially fast food workers, that amount, because like minimum wage, like here in Illinois is $12 now, and it's like they pay people who work at fast food places minimum wage, I believe. So, it's weird.
I want to say that minimum wage in Seattle has gotten up to $15 or $16.
Yeah.
So
I know that's the plan we have in Illinois.
yeah.
I know the plan is by 2025 we're raising the minimum wage $1 until we reach 15. Um, but until then, I'm just like, right now, being paid as a star versus going to Seattle and then working at Dick's would be like, that's a huge pay increase.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Though I mean, with that big city, so it's like
Big city,
cost
yeah.
of living.
Cost of
it's,
living
like,
is
kind of a
higher.
lot, so you get your drawbacks.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, talk about like the road trip to Chicago. So I think the the day after the 4th of July, so the 5th, which was a Monday.
It was a Monday morning.
It was a Monday
Yep.
morning. We woke up at like 5 or 6 in the morning to start packing, right?
Yep.
And then we just straight up drove from Seattle to our first destination.
Yeah, I remember that morning very vividly because the body bags that the DeVases brought took up like 3/4 of a trunk.
Yeah.
And we were just like trying to like fit everything into both trunks.
Yeah.
I know you weren't feeling like super well.
I
that
wasn't
morning,
feeling hot.
And so I remember my grandma coming out with like an
Bro.
armful of like just like various.
I'm so grateful to your grandma, bro. She throughout the entire Seattle trip and the entire like the first couple days, bro, she carried cuz I got heat stroke I think the 3rd day of when we were in Seattle, and then I wasn't feeling good. And then your grandma was like, "Oh, please take this for your journey," and gave me like 2 packs of lozenges, Advil and Tylenol, 3 different types of eye drops. I was like, bro,
She put,
I
like,
appreciate
a couple, like things of like orange
orange juice,
and,
like ramen packs,
yeah.
like a bunch of fruit, all that stuff, and I was like, I'm so grateful, bro. And then we set off. And our first destination was Enterprise.
Oregon.
Yeah, so we went to Oregon. Enterprise is like in the middle of nowhere, right?
Yeah.
It was like they from what I heard it's like in the middle of nowhere, but the brewery where we ate was fucking phenomenal.
Terminal Gravity.
I have a shirt from them.
We have the same one.
Yeah, we have the same shirt. And then they're the model they have on that shirt is what Cheers from Afar.
Yep.
Which was so dope. The waitress that ended up serving us, because we had come like, granted we got there like about an hour before close, an hour and a half before close, and it was a point where it was like the waitress was so stressed. You could tell she was like, when we first sat down, she was like kinda moody.
Yeah.
And then by the time the shift went on, we felt bad, and then we kept like sparking conversation, and she was like, Illinois driver's licenses, and we sparked up a conversation from there. And at the end of the dinner, it was really nice. We were just talking to her and stuff.
Because she then pointed us in the direction of
the hike
trail,
Mm-hmm.
which, I mean, all along the West Coast, various mountainous regions,
Mm-hmm.
that will like have say rivers and whatnot. So there's one right outside. It was like
Rattlesnake something, but it was called Hurricane Creek or Hurricane River, something of that sort. That is a picture. God, I look like a fucking
the orangutan.
bro. But that we did go hiking. All of us ended up going shirtless at some point. But it was like the river was like fresh water, so we could drink directly from the source. We have a picture of Alex bending down on all fours to like sip up that water. It was
hands down some of the best water I've ever had.
It was so clear.
In my life.
It was so
There
good.
was no reason not to just go face first into it.
Yeah.
But in terms of like the trail going up, it was supposed to be like a 3-4 mile hike.
Yeah.
We only really made it like one and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But so like half of us ended up going and like staying and resting for a bit because like that was probably the hottest part of our trip, or at least like the most notably hot.
Yeah. It was for me at least, it was a very difficult hike. Because I was like, I've never been hiking before, and also it was like a lot of loose gravel and stuff of this sort. I remember at one point it was like Connor walking on the top and then dropping loose gravel on top of us. It was hard just being able to get my footing, all that stuff. But I ended up taking a rest at around like half a mile in, and then you guys took the rest of the trip up to the waterfall.
We didn't take a path up there. So we very quickly realized that to get up to the waterfall, like it's just like a river hike. There's no beaten path to it. And so it was me, Nugs, Connor, and the other Alex, who were just like hurling over rocks and whatnot, and I fucking love that shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, really brings out like my primal instincts.
Your monkey.
My monkey. Because keeping in mind, I was doing all of this in my sandals, my Tiva.
Your Tivas.
My Tiva sandals, which like, thank God for Tivas.
Yeah.
But like, it was very sketchy because at one point we had to both cross the creek that we were going, like that led up to the waterfall, over like a couple logs.
Yeah.
That like definitely were not like stable. I at like one point had like made this move where like I moved a couple branches over me to then like traverse up through like what looked to be some sort of like beaver dam.
Yeah.
And then to stand at like the base of the waterfall.
It's crazy.
It was kind of insane, and it felt so nice up there. Not only was it like really hot, but then like the waterfall, like just like all of that was really nice. There's like a beautiful view from up top, and then the even sketchier part of that was getting down.
Yeah, that's not the waterfall. That's somewhere else. But, getting down was like, it was like the entire hike was incline, and then there was when you go up a hill to get back, you have to go back downhill, and with all that loose gravel, it was so sketchy. Because someone had told me that you said that hiking in your Tivas was the easiest. Someone told me that.
I believe so.
Yeah, he believes that hiking in Tivas is the easiest. So I hiked with these shoes. I wore them. I had bought these in Seattle, but these that's my ass. With these, and the amount of gravel and sand that got into my toes, and all that stuff, and I had to wash these afterwards, which they're still dirty from the hike because I hadn't washed all of it out yet. But I hiked in that, and then going back down and trying to like get all that out later was so awful. It was like getting all of it in, and I was like, come on.
I mean, like, I also forget too that like, in terms of walking distance, like in general, I forget sometimes that like all throughout my entire life I've been just training walking endurance. For those who don't know, I used to play competitive and tournament golf, and so that was like me walking like whatever 2, 3 to 5 miles every other day.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like going up, just like scaling this mountain.
And I'm like
not having worked out a day in like the last like 2 years.
Yeah, and I'm like behind you. I'm like, please, please. I'm like tapping out every like other quarter mile, and I'm just like, I have no endurance. I look like I haven't worked out in like years, but nonetheless, super fun. And then after that hike, we went back. Where did we go eat after that hike?
There was like a Mexican place that
Ah.
I think we went to.
Yeah, that place was fire. It was a guy's birthday, so he sat on a little like toy donkey, and they sang to him, and then it's pretty cool.
I think the most incredible thing about like that road trip is that like we, for the amount of planning that we did, like it was pretty well planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had like our destinations and like when we approximately like wanted to get places and whatnot, but like it was incredible because one, nothing really went wrong.
No.
Which like the biggest hiccup was the fact that Nova, which is my little sister's car,
Kept overheating.
like the AC would like go out every now and then, but like that was like the biggest issue.
Yeah, like nothing went wrong on that trip at all.
And like we like were able to like stick to plan pretty well.
Mhm.
Like obviously there's like some places that's like, oh, you know, like I wish like I had like a little bit more
An
time.
extra
But at the
day.
same time, like we also had a good amount of time just to do everything.
Yeah.
And then that being said too, I don't think we had any bad food either.
No. All that food, like we came out of Seattle having dinner at Alex's place where his entire family can cook. And very well at that fact. So we were thinking, we're gonna have to downgrade from this food to like McDonald's and Arby's like throughout the trip. We went to a bunch of breweries, a bunch of like good restaurants. I don't think we had a bad meal at any of them. It was so good. Like I would take that over the whole fast food trip any day.
Yeah.
That was so good. It's expensive, but it was really good.
To this day, I am still recovering from that
Financially?
financial deficit.
Yeah, that road trip was a good bit of money. I don't know. And then Alex Zuniga, the other Alex, he like reignited my love for Pitbull, cause the playlist that he would play in the car, like he has an impeccable taste in music, but there was one point where it was me, him, and Mikey in the car, and Mikey, you know, he likes Spanish music, and Alex was like, hold on, let me get this going. So on the drive back, this was like the Big Arm Resort or whatever. We were driving back from the restaurant we were eating at, and then Alex like, let me put on my playlist. So we put it on, and then we sang Fireball with the windows down, just blasting it at the top. It was such a good experience. And then just like, he was like, oh, if that's not it, let me continue. And then we just ended up jamming to a bunch of music. Just like music taste in that entire trip was so cool. Just seeing that what everybody like listened to and stuff. And then the walkie talkies, we were like, what are you listening to?
I was just about to say, so like one, honestly, like Gigabrain 5-head idea that I think I like had discussed with Connor is like, it was both a meme as well as something like practical.
Yeah.
Where we're like, you know, we might lose reception while we're on the road trip, so we should have some way to communicate between cars. And so we stopped at a Dick's Sporting Good, right? And we picked up 2 walkie-talkies.
Yeah.
My absolute favorite thing that I will still reference to this day is the fact that like I had came up with code names
For everybody.
and that like everybody was like generally
Like nicknames.
nicknames and whatnot. I thought that those were gonna last like maybe 2 hours, like into like the road trip, like it lasted the entire way, and like we still reference those today.
Yeah.
Even when we're using those walkie-talkies, because like we'll like pick them up every once in a while.
Yeah.
But whenever we would get on the walkie-talkie, it would just be this incredible meme of it would be like, so my name in particular, for those who don't know, so I'm Kowalski. Big homage to
Penguins.
my guy from Penguins of Madagascar. And like say Andrews was
Wilderness Explorer Russell.
And so it would just be like, Roger, this is Kowalski to Wilderness Explorer Russell, do you read?
I'll be like, yep, this is Wilderness Explorer Russell, I copy, over. And it was,
can I get an elevation check?
the elevation is 651 feet over.
Roger.
And it would be that throughout the entire trip. And then I like Nugs was like McPick 2, and then Mikey was like undergrad.
Yeah.
Alex
Mango.
was Mango,
Mangoes.
and then Connor was Virgin.
The Virgin, yes.
It was so funny. And then us just like referencing that throughout the entire trip was funny, because we even without the walkie-talkies, there were points where we would reference each other by code name without those walkie-talkies, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Nothing is more satisfying than hearing that walkie-talkie go off and just be like, hey, this is Kowalski to everybody in the other car. It's Kowalski to Nova. Y'all looking mighty fine today.
And then someone would pick up and they're like, hey, thanks, man. And there was like, you'd be like, this is Wilderness Explorer Russell to Cosmos. What are you currently listening to? And then they'd be like listening to something.
Like at some point, like, I know my car, we had listened, like we were like listening to like Nightcore at some points.
Yeah.
I had made a playlist of like literally everything that I listened to, and so it was just like a variety of like, you get like Cascada into like Migos.
Yeah, I think with Brian's playlist, we went from K-pop to Chief Keef, and I was like, oh my god, I'm getting whiplash with this playlist.
Yes, the next hit concert, it's Red Velvet with opener Chief Keef.
Well, Chief Keef at a K-pop concert, I kind of want to see that.
So do I.
Yeah, and then we went. That was also at Enterprise, was when I learned about the Greater Idaho Movement.
Oh.
Which in now I'm thinking like will not affect me at all. But
it's
thinking
so
about
funny,
it,
because I had referenced that so casually, and none of you guys like had ever heard of it.
yeah, because we're like we're Midwest, we're like a little like we only know our like relative area, but like
So, Soren, have you ever heard of the Greater Idaho Movement?
No.
Okay, so the Greater Idaho Movement is like, it's like these like various like bills and whatnot that are trying to be passed, in which like the rural 75 to 80% of Oregon would be assimilated into Idaho. So Idaho would just become like this monster of a state that like just encapsulates the Pacific Northwest, where like Oregon would just be like this like little tiny surrounding area around Portland, and then like Washington would be kind of cut off right past the Cascade Mountains. And so if you look up a picture of the Greater Idaho Movement, people have like drawn out what they believe that Idaho should be, because it's like, in terms of like culturally, right?
yeah.
The difference between like Portland and like everything outside of Portland
It's drastic.
Pretty drastic, where it's like, these are hippies, and then like everybody else.
Yeah. Like we saw somebody with a Greater Idaho Movement bumper sticker.
Yeah.
And it was like a draft of what Idaho would look like with everything like encapsulated into it, and I was like, there are people that actually like are invested into the Greater Idaho movement. It's like, bro, what would we do with with Idaho as
like, But the thing is, it's like funny because it literally would not affect anybody because like the population difference between like say like Portland and like the rest of Oregon is like such like a big steep like difference in numbers
yeah.
that it just wouldn't matter.
I don't think it wouldn't matter. And
But yeah, so like that's what it would look like, and I was like we were talking about the waitress about it, and it's something that makes me laugh.
but driving from there to Wyoming, seeing Devil's Tower,
Yep.
then going from Devil's Tower to
No, so we went up to Montana first.
no, we drove through Wyoming to get to
Is
Montana.
that what that was?
Yeah,
U.S. man.
Oregon, drove through a corner of Wyoming to get to Montana, I believe.
What? No.
No?
Oregon, Montana, Wyoming.
Oh,
South
okay.
Dakota.
Okay, we drove through Wyoming to get to South Dakota. Getting that whole thing wrong, but we did drive to Montana for first the Loves, where we got a bunch of country like cowboy hats. I think Nugs and Alex got cowboy hats first, and then we all picked ours up along the way.
Yeah, so that was like a really big bit, and that we're like, you know what, we're going into like Montana, Wyoming, all of like. I love that picture of Alex so much.
Yeah.
Where like we would go into like these like more rural places, and we're like, let's blend in with the locals.
Yeah.
What do we need to do? Get cowboy hats, because that's what people wear.
So I think the first two people that got cowboy hats were Alex and Nugs.
Yes.
They both got cowboy hats, and then
You got one.
I got one with Mikey at
No, me, Brian, and Connor all got ours together at the Corn.
the Corn Palace. I got mine at Mount Rushmore, which was funny. And then, yeah, and you guys got yours at the Corn Palace. And then eventually we have a picture of us in front of the inn that we were staying at the driving back from the the Corn Palace, where we were staying when we visited the Corn Palace, and it was all of us in cowboy hats in front of the two cars.
Like, what a bit, because like we would walk into a restaurant with all of our cowboy hats on, and like low-key was so terrified to be racially profiled.
Yeah, and we did get racially profiled in Montana. We stayed at a hotel called the Sip and Dip Lounge.
Yes.
One
of my favorite places though.
I think it was called the O'Hare Motel, and
something like
the O'Hare Motel had the Sip and Dip Lounge, which we like everybody was excited to go to because it apparently had like a mermaid bar.
Yes.
And all that stuff. But as we were walking back from this like grilled cheese place. The block.
Yep.
We were walking from there back to the motel, and this like random guy on the street, he's like, "Hey," we were like kind of like walking. He was like, "Y'all look like you're from a K-pop, one of those K-pop groups, right? Shamalama Ding Dong," and I sat there. I was like, "Is that the first time we've been racially profiled at this trip?" And I looked at Alex. Then I looked at Connor. Connor was laughing his ass off. I was sitting there. I was like, yeah. And it was like, cool. And he walked away. And we walked out of the interaction. It was like, are we a K-pop group? And it was crazy.
The best part, none of us are Korean.
None of us are Korean. You have like two Vietnamese boys. You have like two Filipino guys. You're also kind of Filipino as well. And then Alex, who's Mexican, and then fucking Connor who's just white, and then it was that, and I was like, we do not look Korean at all.
I mean, you know, my dyed hair at the time.
Kind of.
Maybe.
Yeah, the silver dyed hair, kind of, but I don't.
I was like mostly blonde at that point.
Yeah, so I don't know, but yeah, we were we were racially profiled at Montana, and then the morning of Montana, we went to the gas station, and this is gonna be our catchphrase for the podcast. But we were at the gas station filling up, getting food, right? When I presume to be a homeless man walks up to their car. No, it walks up to a car with Brian, Alex, and I think Nugs,
Yep.
right? And he's like, "Hey," and they didn't hear him at first, and he like walked up close. He was like, "Hey," and they're like, "Yo, what up?" He was like, "Stay safe out there," and that has become so ingrained in our vocabulary, because it was like, for a guy like out of nowhere just coming up to go, "Hey, stay safe out there." We were like, okay, I guess. But yeah, I think that's
It is now what I believe to be the perfect like exit
yeah.
of a room where you can just point at, point at anybody and just be like,
Stay safe
"Stay
out
safe
there.
out there," and then just leave.
Yeah, and it's just like a good like farewell, and it's like, I don't know. That was both just like a really weird encounter, but also something that we just keep forever. And then, what was it? From Montana, we went.
So, sip and dip lunch.
Yeah,
We
sip
touched
and
on
dip
a little bit of, but like it's like this bar that's attached to a pool, where like the ends pool has like windows that you can see into the pool from the bar, and like it's like kind of neat. In that like throughout the entirety of like the night, they'll have like mermaid shows where they'll have like trained professionals and like whatnot, like have like these shows, and then they serve like these drinks called fish bowls, where there's the fish bowl there, where in that single glass there's like 14 shots of like various like rums, Malibu, like just like a whole bunch of different blue curacao or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just having the time of our fucking lives. Just like, we were the youngest in that room easily by like 20 years.
Really?
There was nobody like else in that bar that was like, I want to say below 45. There's no way.
What?
It was just like all of like these like older people. They were like, I think that they were like playing like bingo or something.
Mm-hmm.
But like, yeah, it was all a very interesting experience. Nonetheless.
Yeah, I wanted to go really bad, but they were like, yeah, people under 21 can't go in past 9 p.m. and we had gotten back at 9 p.m. and I was like, fuck. But like hearing the story and seeing all the videos was pretty cool, akin to your recent diesel trip. Very much the same energy.
Yes.
Well, kind of, but it was pretty fun.
Yeah, from the sip and dip, we went down to we went lateral to Mount Rushmore.
No, because we stopped by Devil's Tower, then we went back up to South Dakota, right?
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
Yes. Devil's Tower, Big Rock, and then up to more bigger rocks, also known as the Hokage Heads.
The Hokage Heads, the
Yes.
Mount Rushmore Hokage Heads. And then we have an edited picture of all of us at the Hokage Heads. It was so funny.
I think we're about to pull it up right now.
Hopefully, yeah.
Where, yeah, so there we are. Spent a little bit of time there. That's where you got your cowboy hat.
I got my little cowboy hat.
And then from there was
was the inn for the Corn Palace because
That's
we slept from stopping by Devil's Tower. We just took a trip. We drove to the Cowboy Inn. And at the Cowboy Inn, we woke up. We went to Mount Rushmore. Then from Mount Rushmore, we drove to the inn where the Corn Palace was. The morning, that's the thing. We got to the Corn Palace like later in the day, right? Because we were like, while we're already here, we might as well, right?
Yes.
We didn't go to sleep. We went from Mount Rushmore to the Corn Palace and we went to sleep. I believe that's how
Yeah.
the day went.
Yeah. Because I very vividly remember. Okay, so Corn Palace is fucking Taj Mahal of South Dakota, right?
The
This,
only
like,
Corn Palace in existence.
only Corn Palace in the world, right? And it's like this like massive building, like lights and shit everywhere. The entire like exterior is covered in like murals made out of corn.
Yeah, made out of these like corn cobs, these dried like corn cobs, and I'm like, this is a fever dream.
Where like the county that it's in
Mitchell.
pays like 10 grand or something every single year to redecorate
Yeah.
that corn palace.
And it's funny too because the town that it's in, Mitchell, right? Mitchell, South Dakota, their city hall is next to the Corn Palace, and they have they have a sign on the city hall that says Corn Palace next door, and that just makes me. If there's a sign for it, how many people mistake the city hall for the Corn Palace
Yeah.
when it's easily not missed, right?
Or like vice versa, where it's like you have to like go in for like official business and you like walk in.
Into the Corn Palace.
But like the Corn Palace itself is like a gift shop that like is in
A basketball court.
arena. Yeah. Like
I'm like,
they have like regional basketball tournaments
Yeah.
at the Corn Palace.
I'm like, imagine like a school going there and looking at the
Our-
building.
Our team of NBA monkeys could play at the
Could play at the
at
Corn Palace. I'm just thinking about like what our team would be. We'd have the little spider monkeys, the bonobos. It's so funny.
I like this idea that it's like not just like one kind of monkey. It's like
A bunch of
a
different
bunch of
monkeys.
different monkeys.
Yeah.
Now I'm just imagining like an orangutan
As the center.
as like the center, just like trying to like, just like this guy would have the nastiest scream. I'm just saying.
Bro, the spider monkey would have such a jumper, bro. It would jump up and just. Oh my god. That's so funny. But yeah, from the Corn Palace, we met Cornelius.
Oh,
Oh, Cornelius.
sorry, I need you to pull it up, but
There it is.
yeah. So there's these pictures. So Corn Palace has a mascot. His name is Cornelius, and he has like a little statue outside. So somewhere in that folder, we made like a mixtape cover. That should just be like right next to it. That is, I want to say, one of the more like. That picture goes so hard.
It goes so hard for no reason. It's like this, like with the explicit advisory tag in the bottom.
Yeah, where this is at this point, me, Brian, and Connor all got our cowboy hats from
the Corn Palace. Yeah.
And we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, we have to take a picture.
we
And
have to
also,
take a picture.
at the Corn Palace, there was like a live feed of people going in and out of the Corn Palace. It's so crazy.
It's right below the light.
Yeah, the Corn Palace was a fever dream. Like going in there, seeing everything made of corn, seeing the history of the Corn Palace, all that stuff. Like apparently the Corn Palace was up in like the fucking like during World War II. It was up, and I was like, what? There's no way, no way this exists. And then the live feed of just like the so the Corn Palace was like big. It looks like the Taj Mahal, and then in the front, like above the entrance, was like a little balcony area. There was a live feed of that area, and I remember watching myself like 10 seconds behind and just seeing like us move around and taking a picture of everybody.
Gengar General.
Yeah, but that picture up there is the live feed. Um, just us being up there with our cowboy hats and just looking at ourselves like that's us in live feed, which is pretty cool. Um, but yeah,
No, so like the reason why I very vividly like remember that is because that is at that point where all six of us had cowboy hats.
we all
That was
had
the
cowboy
first time that we
hats.
all had cowboy hats, and we were like, you know what? We're gonna go in to our next like brewery restaurant
with
with
these on.
cowboy hats. There it is.
Yeah, that's the picture,
There's-
the album cover.
Where that's the playlist cover to right now my all-encompassing playlist, but never have I ever taken a harder picture. The
Yeah.
only picture that I think goes harder is I have a picture with Griffin and Brian that is in front of
The Wienermobile.
Yeah, the Wienermobile. And we're like posing. I'm like in overalls and whatnot.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
It's such a cool picture. And then the next brewery that we went into, which was in Mitchell, was this like, the vibe was pretty cool. It was like
Yeah,
this
we were,
like
outdoors.
it felt like we were we were outdoors. We had these like big wooden tables, and there was like a bunch of street signs everywhere.
Like it was like junkyard.
It was like
but like
Yeah.
it was like
Like rock music,
yeah.
Junkertown esque thing. It was pretty cool, and y'all had like your pistachio ales there.
I had the like chocolate banana daiquiri.
Hmm. And their burgers were fire.
Yeah.
Like the pineapple one that we had,
Yeah.
where four of us ordered the same thing. It was really good. And then from South Dakota, we went to Minnesota, right?
Yes. So, Minnesota was essentially our last stop before actually like heading home. Where I have family in Minnesota, and so we had stopped by one of their bakeries.
Oh my god.
We definitely need to go back again.
I
but
do want to go back.
yeah, my family, they specialize in French croissants as well as using that fusion to make like homemade banh mi.
Yeah.
And
Immaculate.
like every like Asian household that you like go to, they just like keep shoveling you food without stopping. And so,
Your
like,
family just kept going. It was like they had already prepared like a box of like like various pastries and croissants for us, right? And then they were like, for your trip, a bag of banh mi.
Yeah.
And we were like, thank you very much. And I wanted to pay for it, like I wanted to pay for it, but they were like, no, not allowed. Just take it. We were like, okay. So we started like eating all the pastries and stuff, getting all the banh mi, and we kept eating. They were like, here, have more, and they gave us more banh mi. And then I was like to a point where like, hey Alex, if I split this with you, do you want to sneak something into their tip jar? And so we got $20. We like snuck it in, and then we were on our way. And then after that bakery, we went into the Mall of America, where we met Bowie.
Yep.
Bowie's pretty cool. That mall is huge. I'd never been to a mall like that before. It's like a fucking theme park in the mall.
Keep talking.
And then it was like 4 floors of like everything. And when we were there in the theme park was a little gift shop where everybody got their own stuff. Alex got a fucking figure of a Ninja Turtle. You want to tell him about that?
I'm just saying, maybe we'll be auctioning this off at some point, but brand new, still sealed in the box, is this Michelangelo Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure that that we all got at the Nickelodeon theme park. I know Mikey got Mikey.
Mhm.
I know Nugs got somebody. I don't know if he got Raphael
Or Donatello.
or Donatello or something
Yeah.
like that.
I wanted to get this big Appa plushie, but I was like, that's like $40. I don't know, but that was that's sick. The figures, and then you bought manga at the Barnes and Noble.
Yes.
Went to the M&M store where there's like fucking 3 stories of M&Ms. Like, what the fuck kind of shops are these? And then just kept wandering around the Mall of America. From there, but the hotel room that we got at Minnesota was like really cheap for what we ended up with. We got like this like executive, like big
Sweet.
conference room
Yeah.
with like two queen size beds with a pull out mattress. It was such a large room for like $120.
We watched Cars that night as
We
well
did.
as we ended off with our Ram Ranch pictures.
Ram Ranch pictures. We also went to that brewery in the Twin Cities.
Pull them up or no?
Yeah.
Are we gonna get like banned on Twitch because of this?
You're not big enough for that.
No, we're not gonna get banned on Twitch. But we ended up they ended up
There's
taking
no
Ram
nudity.
Ranch. No, but
Nope, no nudity.
Yeah.
yeah. So the images that they took in the bathtub while I was
These are some of my favorite pictures. We were like, because we really wanted the entire trip. We really wanted to
Go
go to swimming.
yeah.
We couldn't, and we're like, you know what? We're just gonna get into our bathing suits, get into the bathtub, and we're like, wait, grab the cowboy hats, and we just took like these collection of pictures in our bathing suits and cowboy hats.
It was so funny, and then we went to a brewery with a.
no, it was. Oh,
It was like a little.
okay. So like, Minnesota Classic,
Yeah.
right, is the Lucy GC,
Yeah.
which is essentially a burger with like cheese infused into it.
Yeah.
Some places they'll like inject cheese into it. Some will like layer it on. It's all very different. But we went to this one place, called the Nook,
The Nook.
I believe. Yeah. And holy shit, was that one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life. So I got one that was like particularly had pepper jack cheese into it. That level spice was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
I got a shake with it
Yeah.
as well as like a beer or two. But the best part about that place too was
The
the
bowling
basement.
alley.
Yeah, the basement has a bowling alley.
Yeah, and it was like just being down there. It was like there was a bar to the side. There was the 4 bowling lanes that were available to us.
It was all really retro because we had to keep our own score
Yeah.
on paper.
Just trying to look up how to keep score and all
Yeah.
that stuff. It was really cool, really sick.
But like it's like you pay like one fee and you get to bowl however
Oh,
long you
yeah.
want.
It was pretty cool. From there, then we went from there all the way back home, and we pseudo broke Nova, because I remember trying to change the headlights and then pushing it through, like, the console for the headlights just went through, and I was like trying to fix that or whatever, but
So Lauren, if you ever get around to watching this, Lauren is my little sister. But yeah, right as we were getting back, they push in the console to like turn off the lights or something like that, and it just goes into like the frame. And I remember driving up to Alex's house, and they're like,
We
don't
broke
know
the
We
car."
broke the car," and I'm like,
you took a
We
picture of it.
we just got back. Luckily, the next morning I was like able to like look it up and like how to do everything,
Mm-hmm.
and I was able to pop it back in place. So until Lauren, you get around to watching this, if you do ever watching this, The world may never know.
No one will. No one knows.
You'll never know.
No one knows. But yeah,
That's what my engineering degree is going to actually, is just covering mistakes.
Because you ended up fixing like something on like the
The
mirror too. Like you and Brian were like monkeying around with the rear view mirror, and just fixing it.
We were doing something, and Brian's head had hit the mirror, and the whole entire review mirror just fell, and we're like,
Uh-oh. Yeah.
And so it was a car guy and an engineer that were just fiddling around with like this mirror,
Yeah.
trying to put it back in place, which we eventually got it.
Mhm.
But yeah, that was like all towards like the end of our road trip. So I have the numbers up here. So 2,650 miles and 45 hours worth of driving
Yeah.
got us from Seattle
To Chicago.
to Chicago.
That was definitely a memorable experience for sure. I do want to go again, but just take a different route from here because we eventually have to take your car back.
Yes, so I think it'd be really fun, right? I say we road trip down to Disneyland. we go like down and then up the coast. It's gonna take twice as long. We're gonna have to save so much money for it.
When are we planning on doing this, first of all?
When I graduate from grad school.
Okay, so like 3 years. Like 3 years from now. So I'm gonna have to save like so much money. Are you saying we go to Florida?
No,
Oh, Disneyland. So
Anaheim.
Anaheim,
And then
and
up.
then up the coast.
Because up the coast we can take Highway 1, which is like one of the most scenic drives that you'll ever take in your life.
Okay, so we'll do that. But that's
Well,
for.
I mean, we could also, or other power play, I'm saying, we go up to Canada
Okay, but like.
and drive all the way, and then my house is like 2 hours away
From the border.
from the border.
Okay, but I've heard from Driffin that Canada, besides its major cities, has like almost nothing to offer.
We drove through Montana, Wyoming, and
Well, yeah, but Canada? I don't even have a passport. I don't. Do you need a passport?
Yes.
yes.
I don't even have one of those.
Well, if it's, you can pretty easily get one.
Yeah. We know how Connor's.
What?
It takes
Passport.
8 months now.
It takes 8 months
It
now.
Actually,
Well, COVID.
well, we friend Connor had to get one for Costa Rica, or he had to like renew or whatever. It took a couple months. It took 3 months, but as long as you specify expedited shipping, and it's like $20,
Yeah.
which like, or actually don't add me on that. I actually don't know how much it is. I think it's like $20. But like you're able to get it, and like if we're planning this now, going to Canada,
I might as well just get one.
just get one.
Yeah.
You know, international travel.
No, but by then I will be 21.
That's fair.
So we could either go from here to the coast and stop by Vegas, or we could go through Canada. But I kind of want to go to Vegas as
more
someone
money.
as someone who is now legally able to do anything there.
Will you be 21 by then?
Yeah, by the time you graduate, grad school takes up when you
yeah, it'll
that'll
a
be
year,
it. Yeah,
it'll be a year.
yeah. So, yeah, I'll be 21 by then. That would be sick. I don't know.
That sounds like so much more money. We could play poker IRL.
With people that
I can't. I'd be 20.
By the
Well,
time
unless you
he-
go after July 30th in August.
wait, but you're graduating grad school in what 2025?
I will be 21 going into my senior year. Well,
Yeah, then you'll be able to.
Yeah, but it's like.
No, we won't, because he'll be
18.
20.
Yeah, unless you go in August. If you go in August, I'll be 21.
If we go in,
No, I wouldn't be going in August.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, only because right now I'm being kind of screwed over with my classes, and I might have to take an extra semester in order to graduate engineering first, and then go into my MBA. Unless if they'll let me finish my undergrad while starting graduate school.
That'd be interesting.
how'd
But-
that work? I don't know how that would work.
But there might be a possibility that we'll be going in like December.
Well, and then Vegas in December is nice.
Yeah.
too, so.
And then, but
Well,
like,
it's also nice because we'll be traveling from the Midwest to the West Coast, in which like we won't be like
Pog.
we'll be like starting in extreme cold to like
To like
better like good weather.
the coast, yeah. That'd be nice. Seattle in the winter.
Seattle in the winter, the coldest it'll usually get is like 30.
Fuck, dude. Must be nice. Here it gets to like -50. I'm like, bro, it's so cold here. I just want to bundle up. Like now, it's getting to a point where I am very comfortable just bundling up and going to sleep.
Yeah, so like the range of temperature on the West Coast is like very.
It's very.
It's like not small. It's like 30 to like 80, which is very comfortable.
Here, you either get a second summer or a second winter in October. I'm like, bro, please.
It's been pretty tame this season though.
Kind of. In August, it was like, yeah. In
August was kind of.
August was kind of hot.
Yeah.
And in September, it went from like 90 to 45 back up to 80. And I was like, hello?
How much better is Seattle water compared to Peoria?
A lot.
So Seattle is one of the few places in just like in the nation in which our water is so clean that like you're able to like clean like car parts or like batteries with this shit.
Yeah.
Where yeah, it's just clean because all of our water comes from the Cascade Mountains, which is essentially the water that I was drinking out of that river. So
Yeah. That's so clean.
yeah,
And then Peoria water is just, oh my god. It's icky. That's why no one ever goes without a Brita filter here. SMH Peoria.
I didn't realize that it's not great to drink out of the tap my freshman year, and I was like, I did once, and I'm.
Bro, I drank out of that water and I got sick. So now I know to just keep my Brita filter everywhere. But yeah, that was pretty much the entirety of our road trip.
Well, that's when you guys. I was still traveling for a good like 2-3 weeks after.
After the road trip?
Yep. So
Oh, that's right.
I just to like wrap things up. It was got into Chicago. I stayed with Connor in the city for about like a little less than a week. My sister had come back from her tournament in Maryland, and I met her up for a collegiate tournament that I was caddying for her in when she was playing with their team with Northwestern.
Mm-hmm.
From there, I drove us down to Kentucky. She played in her final junior tournament of her career,
Mm-hmm.
which was the Junior PGA Championship. Played in that, did pretty well, or yeah, pretty
Solid.
alright. Drove back up, stayed the night, flew back to Seattle, was in Seattle for like a week, and then I came back for residential living training.
Yeah, it is so. The amount of times you travel and you go from Seattle back, and I'm like, what the fuck? But hey, you travel a whole lot. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Well, I think that's about time to wrap up the podcast. Bit of a long episode today. We've been going for about an hour and a half, so far. So, pretty sick.
But yeah. Please shoot us tweets and whatnot of potential topic ideas.
DM us on Twitter.
DM us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter.
Or just like text me.
Mhm.
Either one works.
Yeah.
If it like wasn't live stream, I would like flash my number up on screen. But anyways, I think it's time that we depart.
It's time to
And
go.
To all of you out there, stay safe out there.
Yeah. Stay safe out there. Love you.